You know what time it is.
Yes.
Welcome back to another episode of RSVP Sport.
Welcome back to another episode of RSVP Sport. As always, Jonah Francis, and I'm with my main man, Ronnie T. Damn straight.
Yes. Who we got? We got a young fella here with us. Rambunctious, ambitious.
It's not Mace.
Correction?
I think we glowed up and we moved to the other side of the river.
Yeah?
We in Brooklyn now.
So we got our Brooklyn Nets fan himself, my guy Domer. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, world?
Glad to have you on board, man. How you doing?
I'm great, man. I want to thank my boys Jonah and Ronnie. You know, this is a big deal. You know, a lot of beautiful things on the way.
Yep.
Kind of like this boy Wonder Beat. You know?
It's not the same. It's not the same. I know you guys been waiting for another episode of RSVP Sport, and we're here to deliver. So we'd like to thank you right off the bat for joining us for another wonderful episode. It's Saturday, March 7th. Birthday 2 days away. Domer, birthday 2 days past.
2 days past, 23 years on this earth.
So we've been doing a lot of remodeling. We've added to the team, obviously, with Domer and Carlos. We've also worked on our equipment to bring you a better audio quality. And our website, Ronnie.
RSVPSportNow.com. So basically, we've been working. The layoff, the hiatus, whatever you want to call it, is just to be better for y'all.
And I really meant it when I said a lot of beautiful things ahead, people.
So with the website, we're going to continue to bring you original content, including blogs, forum discussions, and, simply more us.
More us.
More us, that's it.
So again, we want to thank you for your continued support as we took that time off to work on the things on the business side. And now we're back, so let's get back into it. Fellas, a lot has transpired since the last time we met, especially with me and you, Ronnie. Things done changed. The structure of the league is not as it once was.
It's not. A lot of beautiful things happen in the NBA.
So right off the bat, when we're getting up to the playoff picture, let's dive through the Western Conference, the top 8 real fast. We got Golden State, Memphis, Portland, Houston, the Los Angeles Clippers, Dallas Mavericks, San Antonio Spurs, and then the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then in the Eastern Conference, we have the Atlanta Hawks, surprisingly, Chicago, Toronto, Cleveland, Washington, Milwaukee at that 6th spot, Charlotte, and then Indiana with Miami sliding out of the playoff picture right now. Guys, since the trade deadline, what team has positioned themselves in order to be a championship contender? Let's start with you, Ronnie.
Well, definitely in the East, Cleveland got to the slow start. But with those trades, Mozgov, Shumpert, JR, they're looking like a stronger team, and it reflects in their play. I think we could all agree that Cleveland is the number 1 team.
Okay. Nomer?
I really can't say anything, different. I think Cleveland's the number 1 team in the league. As far as the trade goes, I think they have put themselves in the best position to win it all.
Well, they have the easiest road to the finals, I believe. And it might come out to be like whoever they face out, if they make it to the finals, whoever they face from the West is just tired.
That's really the only issue.
So again, Cleveland is number 4. Their path has pretty much cleared out, especially with injuries to the Chicago Bulls, man.
Right.
It's so unfortunate. Week after Derrick Rose goes down with a meniscus tear.
Another one.
I actually got Chicago and Atlanta dead even because I'm expecting Derrick Rose to come back, expecting Butler to come back. With those pieces, even if they're not 100% individually, collectively, I think the Bulls are just a better team.
Bro, I think there's just too much to consider when it comes to chemistry of a team. Derrick Rose is 85% of what he used to be.
And that missing 15% that you're talking about is really just mental. It's confidence, because the burst that we saw in the first couple months of the season was the same burst we saw his entire career.
85% Derrick Rose, is that better than Jeff Teague?
Depends on what night you get him. Consistently,
right.
No.
I agree
This
with
is a
both
guy
of
that
that.
was shooting less than 30% from three-pointers and taking 5 a game. This is also a guy in Derrick Rose that is shooting less than 40% from the field. This is not the MVP Derrick Rose by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. But was he
Agreed.
still better than...
Jeff Teague, no.
I agree.
I don't think he was playing better than Jeff Teague, but as you said, I think it was mental. So I think talent-wise, Chicago still will surpass Atlanta.
You're right. I think the same can be said other than a LeBron James in Cleveland. They really have no playoff, prowess.
But Chicago has people that have been there. Chicago,
100%.
Derrick Rose has been in the playoffs.
Adding a two-time
Chicago
champion.
Two-time championship.
Future Hall of Famer.
It don't matter what he's playing. Backyard basketball, he's giving 110%. So he's playoff.
That was really nice, man. That was really nice.
Butler, same thing with him.
So the Bulls right now are 3-3 with Derrick Rose since Derrick Rose has been out, and also since
and they're still
Butler,
second,
the most improved player.
Right.
Anybody has?
I think we can all say that.
Okay, Jimmy Butler, the most improved player, his elbow sprain, and then let's not forget Taj Gibson has been in and out of this lineup the entire season.
I think the reason we are forgetting that is because of the sensational rookie and my man Nikola Mirotic. That boy has been eating.
I like him.
Yeah, I like him as well. So,
what about
Ronnie,
Toronto?
I think Toronto's
Talking about teams. Toronto is up there in standings. They've been playing well pretty all year. DeRozan's back. Lowry has missed a couple of games, so they've
lately. I think it's just more so for resting purposes because everybody in the league seems to be resting players nowadays.
As they should. If one team is doing it, then you should get.
I'm with that, but I'm also with every team not doing that.
Right.
So with that being said, let's do our contenders. Let's put all the conferences together because there should be no conferences anymore. It should just be the top 16 teams. Domer.
Now, as far as contenders go, we're talking about the teams that we see winning it all, or the teams that we see getting there. I have at 1A and 1B, and I'm going to give the A slight edge to the Memphis Grizzlies, and I'm going to give the 1B to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, those are the two teams on both ends that are, in my opinion, the most balanced throughout the league, even though the Warriors have put up better numbers on both ends. But I just think those two teams put it together consistently on both ends better than just about every other team in the league. I think I'm going to go second, the Golden State Warriors. Best record in the Western Conference, second best in the league. And a surprise here, I don't think it's a surprise for most people, but I got the San Antonio Spurs as that fourth, if you consider the 1A, 1B, and to round it out as far as contenders, the Chicago Bulls. I just don't think anyone in the East is really, if we're talking about the Eastern Conference, it's really Cleveland and who's going to lose to Cleveland.
Ronnie, any objections?
I'm going to go with the teams I think that have a chance to win it. Golden State, Memphis, Cleveland, Chicago, and OKC interchangeable in those last two spots.
Very great. So when we're talking about contenders, I feel as though this should have something to do with power rankings as well. Power rankings should be the ones that we see going to the final.
I agree.
And that's how I'm going to do mine. So number one, record aside, I have Memphis. As we all agree on, they are just a dominant team. They play playoff-style basketball from the first game of the season all the way to the 59th game of the season, all the way to the 81st game of the season, all the way until they make it out of the Western Conference into the finals.
They just don't quit. They don't quit.
They're going to fight. They're going to fight. Yo, Domer, who was the guy that you were talking about that they replaced Michael Conley with for defense last night in the game?
In crunch time, 2 minutes left in the game, right?
Who was it?
Nick Khalifas.
My God. If you guys don't know about him, you need to research him immediately. So Memphis plays some great defense and somehow are able to keep up when it comes to scoring with these other teams, including Golden State. So after Memphis, I'm placing the Cleveland Cavaliers because I think the Cleveland Cavaliers stand the best chance of making it out of the Eastern Conference. After the Cleveland Cavaliers, I have the Golden State Warriors, followed by the Houston Rockets, James Harden for MVP. Yes, I'm on that bandwagon. And last but not least, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I just think if OKC gels, obviously Durant comes back, those pieces that they made, I think they might be the best team. I see how they could be the best team.
And I don't disagree. Mind you, this is since the trade deadline occurred. Right. Oklahoma City has put together a squad. They have put together an actual team. All they're waiting for, all my guy Russell Westbrook is waiting for, is Kevin Durant to come back and just be Kevin Durant.
Just try at least.
Low-key, I think it's going to be Cleveland versus OKC, which will be a dream matchup in the finals. They have similar built teams.
The rematch. On that for a second. If that matchup does happen, early prediction, who you picking? I'm not letting you off on this. Say a name.
I don't think it's that hard at all.
Who do you have?
If they matched up, I think it would look a little like the last time LeBron
No
played.
way.
I don't know.
They just
It's
haven't
not
done
that
anything to
easy.
prove it.
It's not that easy.
I just don't see it.
LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka.
That's a big drop off after number 2.
What?
Serge Ibaka and Kevin Love is almost.
I mean, they've been pretty much playing
It's
the
not a
same role.
comparison.
And let's not forget, despite Serge Ibaka being made fun of for his lack of defense this year, he's still number 1 when it comes to protecting the paint. He's still number 1 when it comes to opponent's field goal percentage inside the paint.
Right, but they still felt the need to bolster their front line.
That three? Ibaka,
And they
Kevin
have.
Love.
And they have. With
Ennis Cantor.
Ennis Cantor's a boss.
What's my guy from was it Michigan? Mitch McGary.
I like Mitch McGary.
Yes.
And
Did we mention DJ Augustin?
that's where I was going. They
A true
still
point
have
guard?
that guy.
I just think that the Warriors and the Grizzlies
Uh-huh.
are the only 2 teams that I can legitimately say will outright beat them in a 7-game series.
All right, now that we've gone through the teams that, we believe are contending, and I think I had Domer say that he has the Bulls as a contender. Let's go to the ones that fell out of contention.
Ronnie said the same, and I agree
Sorry.
too. I agree. I have him
Let's go with the
5th.
team.
I have him 5th.
And I have the Bulls as my primary team that fell out of contention.
Right.
There's just too much going on inside this organization, both with the head coach being questionable if he's going to come back next year because of ownership. Derrick Rose has completely fallen off the map, like we've talked about. Jimmy Butler has been injured with the sprained elbow. Taj Gibson is out. They're number 2 in the East right now, but I do look for their position in the fall to somewhere around 4 to the 5 spot. Do you guys think Tibbs is coming back next year?
100%.
They will, or if they play well. But
I think they'd be.
if things don't pan out, Rose doesn't come back, or Butler comes back but doesn't play well, they have the perfect excuse to let him go. They're healthy, man.
They're not healthy right now.
Right.
And
But
again, I'm harping on their chemistry.
their unhealthiness is supposed to return to healthiness
Right.
soon. So that's what I'm going with.
I think even if Derrick Rose doesn't come back, I think Aaron Brooks, I think Kirk Heinrich, I think, Jimmy
You still
Butler.
have a solid team.
I think those guys on your perimeter give you a
The
shot.
Washington Wizards have been so disappointing
But let's-
post All-Star break.
Let's
Started
be
the
honest
season-
here. Let's be honest. Winning is hard. Winning consistently is hard.
Very.
Washington, for all intent purposes, is a new team that is winning.
Yeah,
I agree.
Ronnie, but they've been losing some
But-
winnable
exactly.
games.
Like
to-
76
that game last
under
night. We were watching
500.
the game last night. They were up by what, like 30
30
on Miami.
points.
They're clearly the better team. Clearly won that game. But at the end of the game, Miami bounced all the way back. It was a 1-point game. They lost by
1-point game.
1.
Well, they lost by 2
That
points.
shows a
That's
mental
crazy.
focus. That shows a mental focus of you not being able to win.
No, I think they benefit from their schedule. That's what I think. Like they've
I
played
agree.
a lot of sub 500 teams, and they've beaten them. They played in the Eastern Conference, and they're doing what they should do with that weak conference.
I think there's a lot to be said when you start off 29-13 and go 6-14 after that stretch.
It's ugly.
You're not a team.
So we're calling them an Indiana Pacers of last year.
No, because the Indiana Pacers were actually a legitimate threat to win the East.
Okay.
And showed it in the playoffs and showed it all season long. I just don't think that the Wizards are a team that I could see getting to that Eastern Conference.
So the Wiz fall in with, in my opinion, the Chicago Bulls and your guys over there in Canada. You guys, what's going on with the Mavs? What's going on with Portland?
Man, Mavs, they just need some time. They added a top point guard to their roster in Rondo.
We'll
You should
discuss
see
that.
Domer's face right now.
We'll
They
talk
added
about
a
that.
top point guard in Rondo, defensively setting up the offense. Rondo could do his thing. Let's not argue. He been to the finals, won a championship. He has pieces there that he could get the ball. Carlisle has to be able to relinquish some of the responsibility to Rondo, and that will come over time. They're bumping heads, just as Jason Kidd did with Rick Carlisle when he first got there. But they have the pieces. It's just the Western Conference is too tough.
So the Mavs are out as far as actual contenders to winning the championship.
Were they ever in it? I want to ask you both that.
They were in it earlier in the season.
Okay.
Before trade season happened.
They weren't
Jonah?
in it. I barely had the Mavericks inside of my playoff picture.
Based on last year going into the season, first couple of games, the number one offensive team in the NBA, the Mavs had a great chance of coming out of the West.
They're still fifth.
And they were doing their thing. They were doing the same thing they did against the Spurs to start off the season, and then the blockbuster trade happened, and
So you no longer think they could do it?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm not saying they can't beat the Portland Trailblazers in the first round. I'm not saying that.
The Blazers are a championship contention team.
So I
outside-
guess I'll let you do your thing now. What's your
Portland-
gripe with Rondo and the Mavs, and then segue in
With
on
Rondo
Portland?
and the Mavs, I just don't think. I think they're the same, and if they're not the same, then they've fallen off a bit. They went from second in offensive efficiency to fifth or fifth now. So that's a small drop off as far as elite offensive teams. They're still plugging away. That's not the issue, and it hasn't been the issue all year. And it's defense. They're a middle of the road defensive team. They're 14th in defensive efficiency right now. That's not going to win you anything in the Western Conference.
Remember, they're also one of the most aged team in the league,
Right.
which really comes to show, its light in the playoffs. But continue.
I agree. I think veterans might care more in the playoffs, so I guess, but that's really something that we really can't put our fingers on. But as far as Portland goes, I think they're a bit more consistent, at least defensively, a lot more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
A lot more consistent.
when you have a team that's been consistently third or fourth, top 5 defensive unit in the entire league, to match a top 10 offensive unit in the entire league, constantly, they are a better basketball team than
Now
the
we're
Dallas
speaking
Mavericks.
of, because I don't know when you say now what you mean, post Wesley Matthews?
Post Wesley Matthews, it definitely changes things, but the way that the Dallas Mavericks are playing, I would still give the slight edge to the Portland Trailblazers. I still think they're a far better defensive unit without Wesley Matthews than the Dallas Mavericks, far better. And I think offensively, if the Dallas Mavericks are better, it's by barely.
So, Ronnie, if somehow Portland slides down to the 4th spot, Dallas remains in the 5th spot, and they play each other in the playoffs, who you taking that series?
Dallas.
Why?
Rick Carlisle and Rondo. Rick Carlisle, championship coach. Dirk Nowitzki, championship superstar, aging though, we all know. Tyson Chandler, championship center. Rondo, championship point guard. They have the pieces there mentally to get it done. Now it's about figuring that chemistry to get it done.
I think those are great points. Now, if you want to break down the matchups again, I think Terry Stotts isn't that big of a drop-off than Rick Carlisle, but I would definitely give Rick Carlisle the edge in that coaching matchup. But as far as adjustments go, I think Terry Stotts can make just as good as adjustments as any coach in the league.
It's not proven. They got blew out by San Antonio last year.
I know, but
embarrassingly.
that was the team that embarrassed everyone in the playoffs, other than the Dallas Mavericks in the first round. But the defending champs were housed by them. So I think that's a little of something that the Portland Trailblazers can speak on. Another thing that I want to say is, as far as Robin Lopez and Tyson Chandler go, I mean, that's a take your pick. You're not going to sit here and tell me that Tyson Chandler is far and away better than Robin Lopez at what they do. I think a LaMarcus Aldridge and Dirk Nowitzki matchup is something that I'm going to give a slight edge to LaMarcus Aldridge.
Aminu, what's his name?
Alfredo Amino's a solid bench player.
All right, he's going to be defending
Damian Lillard and Rondo is the matchup that I think sways heavily into Portland's favor. I think, and I put emphasis on heavily.
I don't see it heavily. I think probably points-wise, yes.
I think just impact presence on the
game.
game.
Rondo's doing his thing. Offensively, he's going to equal out because he's going to produce points otherwise.
More than anything else, I really want to kind of dive into Portland as an organization. We brought up the Wesley Matthews Achilles injury, which seems to be more common nowadays than not. But how has Portland been able to consistently be inside like the contenders? Brandon Roy injury, and now the Wesley Matthews injury. And before the Wesley Matthews injury, they did something to shore up that position. Domer?
Adding Aaron Aflalo is a big deal to me before the injury, but I still think it's actually what's going to get them through the trials and tribulations that come with a Wesley Matthews injury. Having a guy like that on your perimeter to take a team that was already one of the better defensive teams in the entire league and they really have not dropped off.
So I want to bring in Carlos for this one, because Carlos had an interesting run through the Portland Trailblazers history and how they've managed to come back to the position that they are now today.
It feels like whoever gets drafted to Portland get ready to get injured. Going back to Greg Oden, Brandon Roy, like you said yourself,
Oh my God.
Wesley Matthews.
I forgot about Oden.
However, this says a lot about the Portland organization as a whole, drafting great pieces to always be in contention in the Western Conference.
When we say contention, what do we mean? Like, they've always been the middle of the pack team.
Yeah, but you have these teams who fall off for 8 years, maybe for longer periods of time, that don't make the playoffs. Let's not forget the draft day trade they made. They drafted Tyrese Thomas and then traded for LaMarcus Aldridge. Where is Tyrese Thomas now?
Okay, yeah, they've done a great job.
They really have, and it's really just unfortunate that the injury seems to be the story of the Portland Trailblazers franchise and organization. But moving forward, what do you guys think about their point guard, Damian Lillard?
I think he's as good, if not better, than what people think.
I think he might
it's
be,
just
yeah.
that the other point guards in the league are better. This point guard class.
Might be the best in some time, if not ever.
There's a legitimate 12, 13 guys on any given night that could be the best point guard in the game. I think Brandon Knight, if Brandon Knight puts it together on a random Wednesday night, Brandon Knight could play the best point guard in the league. Same goes for a Jeff Teague. Same goes for a Kyle Lowry. These guys, we're not going to sit here and say they're better than Chris Paul, Steph, Russ, these elite point guards, but on any given night in the association,
They could hurt you.
I mean, they're not going to place Damian Lillard as one of the top 5 point guards in the league, but we would place Damian Lillard as the best rapper in the league. Listen to this, folks.
Sick of these suckers all in my bubble though, critiquing me on stuff I had to struggle for. This dream done been a long time coming, and my clock was Forrest Gump and spent a long time running. Jungle.
He nice. He nice.
He's nice. So with that being said, let's do some of our favorite rappers from the league. And Ronnie, who's yours, man? Who's yours?
You know I got to ride or die with my man Kobe, man.
This guy right here.
K.O.
Yo. It's like this.
Yeah, that's my guy, man.
What I
He
live
got
for,
bars. Listen.
basketball, beats and bras, from Italy to the US. Yes, it's raw. I'm in search for the one that make my wealth feel poor. Who can ignore the spotlight life for grandma? My dumb for have I found the ore? Should I
third all time in scoring.
That's that guy right there.
Had Tyra Banks on the hook. This is when Tyra Banks was, Jackie and Fresh Prince, Tyra the supermodel. Like, stop it.
That's that guy right there. What do you have to say? That's my favorite player, bro. You better watch yourself.
Yo, man, I know y'all love Kobe and all.
Be careful.
I gotta be realistic about his rapping.
Yo, from Italy to the U.S.
Yes, indeed.
Can't even pronouncing Italy right.
Nah, you not pronouncing Italy.
This is completely biased, but the worst
You can
rapper
stop
out of
right
all of them.
You can stop right there.
The worst rapper.
So D, who you got on yours?
I think in this case, favorite players translate to favorite rappers a little bit better. I think if you're a fan of hip hop, you can just feel this thing.
I love Kobe.
1994 G-Funk from the town. OAK.
Yo, J.
So they
was pretty
say.
nice, man. J. Kill was pretty
That
nice.
was 94. Splitting the co-rookie MVP with co-rookie player of the year. With my man Grant Hill, young buck in the league, showing his true Oakland form, kind of like a one Damian Lillard. True Oakland point guards can spit a free here and there.
You know what I mean? It's not really freestyles. I mean, these things is written. Especially Damian Lillard. You know what wasn't written? This guy right here.
Couldn't do without me. You know how I be. Last week, Kobe couldn't do it.
Big guy.
I call myself big, but I'm not as good as Biggie. I call myself big because I live next to Diddy. Excuse me, Diddy lived next to me. So when it goes, dog, I feel like B.I.G. Because if Biggie was still here, he would be right there on Star Island in a mansion somewhere chilling, sitting on about $500 million.
$500,000.
Guns combined shit, that's $500 million.
$500 million.
That's
$500 million, right?
Now that's B.I.G. Ain't nobody in the world do it bigger than me. Patrick Ewing having more rings than me. That's like rappers having cars, strip things than me.
Yo, with that being said, I'm not even going to make this during play out because it's too much disrespect.
It's so.
Should we have stopped it right there, fellas?
No,
it sounds that way.
should've. We definitely should have.
It sounds that way.
It definitely
Does it sound that way?
It sounds like we should have definitely
the
stopped
level
it.
of disrespect.
Shaq.
I think Shaq wanted Kobe
The level of
to
disrespect
catch the
that you
aroma.
have for someone that carried you to 3 championship rings.
Now that's disrespect.
That is crazy. No, we're not playing nothing. Yo, Carlos, don't you dare.
Kobe, you couldn't do it without
Carlos.
me. Kobe, you can't do it without me. Everybody, Kobe, tell me how my ass tastes. Yeah, you can't do it without me.
Listen over here.
He said, Kobe, you can't do without me.
Except he did.
Twice.
This was truly a nice kickoff episode. We had Ronnie as always with us, and then we also introduced you to our newest member of RSVP Sport, Dahmer. RSVPSportNow.com. What's our other platforms, Ronnie?
Find us on Google+, Twitter, SoundCloud. Listen for us on SoundCloud, YouTube at RSVP Sport.
And a revamped Instagram page coming towards you.
Yes.
Pretty soon. The website is about 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away, and as I said before, we're gonna have original content. We're gonna have blogs with full-on articles so you guys can read as well. Get a little bit more into our minds. Carlos, as always, is with us as well. Besides that, thank you guys for coming back. Thank you for the continued support. Stick with the fraternity.
RSVP Sport.
What we say today
Matters tomorrow.